the next day and I'm still wearing the same clothes. Okay, today I want to do something a little bit different because it's my YouTube channel and I can do what I want. I want to talk about Doctor Who. I'm a big Doctor Who fan, or at least I was before the last couple of seasons, and I just want to talk about it, so I'm gonna do that. And I'm gonna go through each of the new Who Doctors and then like talk a bit about them. Want to do this for like Classic Who eventually, but there's like a lot of content there, so I don't really know if I'll ever get to that, but I'm gonna do that with New Who. Today I want to talk about Christopher Eccleston and his run as the Doctor, so the whole like first season with Christopher Eccleston as the Ninth Doctor, and I'm just gonna go through the like episodes and talk about what I liked and what I didn't like, and yeah, let's get right into it. I originally started watching Doctor Who in like 2012 or 13 or something, so no, definitely before 2013, maybe 2012 or something, when Matt Smith was the Doctor, so I watched pretty much all of Eccleston and Tennant's runs in like one sitting, or like as close to that as possible, because I literally just binged it and I was like, shit, now it's over. So yeah, and now I'm gonna talk about the first season. Not the Christmas special though, because that one is not Christopher Eccleston. So, episode 1, Rose. This is the one in which the Doctor, the companion Rose Tyler, and also like the whole show are introduced. Like, it's the pilot. For anyone who wasn't around when Classic Who was a thing, which me, it's basically like a jumping off point for you to like get into the show. I liked this episode, but I did think that Mickey was treated really, really terribly. I think the actor who plays Mickey said that he didn't didn't play him right in the first episode, and I completely agree. I think he's way too cartoonish, for lack of a better word. He seems like he's not really his own person, and he's kind of only there for like being the guy that Rose leaves behind at the end of the episode, which like, it's not good. I like the fact that you start off with like following Rose and seeing like a day in her life, pretty much, and then when the Doctor gets introduced, it's like, oh, this is how it's different. I also think this episode was like a good kind of example of how episodes in the Russell T Davies era would be. I do want to say the bit with like Clive, where Rose is like talking to him, and Clive is like, he has one constant companion, death, and I was like, what? I was like, I know he like does dangerous stuff, but like, I think New Who took itself a bit too seriously sometimes. I mean, I think it still does, but like, definitely at the start, like it's way too serious. Like, I don't think, I think it fits with the tone of the episode and stuff, but I just think, like, considering the whole season as a whole, like, a scene like that, it's like, it doesn't need to be explicit, because you can just like infer from everything happening in the show. You don't have to like have a scene where the characters sit down and are like, this is dangerous, because you can tell. Yeah, overall I think it was a good start. It's definitely not like a favorite of any kind of mine, and I don't really care that much about like Mickey especially, but I don't care much about Jackie or honestly even Rose or the doctor at the end of this episode. It just kind of intrigued me, and that's why I like watched the next episode, which is the end of the world, and that's the one in which they go to the future and watch the earth burn up. I think the plot in this episode is so stupid, but I think it works because it's not like Doctor Who in general isn't a show that takes itself too seriously, and it like can't be, because the whole premise is like so insanely stupid, like in the best way possible, but like it's dumb. It's an alien who like time travels, has two hearts. Like that's not, you can't make a show like that and like be super serious all the time. So I think that works. I think the stupid plot goes well with the stupid character, like villain character. They definitely do establish the stakes pretty well, and I also think it develops the characters of Rose and the Doctor pretty well. So the next one is the Unquiet Dead. I have my laptop here to like look up the names, but I don't really need it, and I'm like alarmed at how well I remember these episode titles. The next one is the Unquiet Dead. That's the one with the ghosts and the actor who's also in Torchwood, and it's I like it for what it was like. For what it was, I think it was enjoyable. I think the best parts of it are like the ones with Charles Dickens. I don't really think that they needed to have like an alien threat in the episode, but it was pretty early on in like the revived series, so maybe they were just like, we should have like a historical with an alien threat, and I think the alien threat could have been better. I wasn't really intimidated by them. I just thought it was like it was just like a plot point basically, but it does help to establish like the Doctor's new piece of backstory, which is the Time War. So like for that it's good. Overall I think it was okay. It definitely could have been a lot better. Yeah, it was just a weird concept, and I don't really think it worked that well, because I wasn't really intimidated by the alien threat. The next episode is the two-parter Aliens of London, World War III. That's the one with the farting aliens that like everyone knows about, or like refers to. So here's the thing. If you ignore the fact that the Slitheen are constantly farting, it's a good episode. Like it's good. It's interesting. It's compelling. It introduces the character of Harriet Jones, who like comes back a couple of times, and she's really interesting to watch, especially in these like earlier days when, you know, like before she actually like gets to do all the things that she has like planned, or you know, like before people actually like start respecting her. Like I think it's interesting to see her character at that point, and it definitely does a lot more for Jackie, and definitely for Mickey in my opinion. I stopped like hating him after I watched this episode, because I was like, oh, he's not useless. Okay, thank you. And yeah, but like I feel like people just kind of get stuck on the bit about the aliens being like really gross, which yeah, it sucks. Just like ignore that. They are trying to appeal to children clearly with like that thing. It is supposed to be like an all ages thing, so I guess the writers were just like, what do children think is funny? Fart jokes. And then they wrote 2 episodes about that. Ignoring the farting, I think it's like a good story, and I like the bit in the end when they are trying to make the decision between like, you know, the Doctor is like, I could like save the world, but like I don't know if Rose would be safe, and Rose is like, no, you have to do it. And I was like, oh, like I like this character moment, very good. And I think it sets up like stuff that they do for each other later in the season well. Like they clearly like care so much about each other, and also like care so much about, you know, like doing good ultimately like in the world. And I think that's set up well here. I like seeing Carrie Jones come back. I'll talk about her a bit more like the next time she appears, in like when I do the David Tennant one. The next one is Dalek. I think this episode is a goddamn masterpiece. It was, it develops the Time War more, it develops the Daleks, it develops the Doctor's character, it develops Rose's character. It's just, it's so good. And like, I know people say stuff like, oh, Doctor Who is like too political now, referring to like stuff that they're trying to do in like the 11th and 12th season with like Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor, but like Doctor Who has always been political. This episode is super political. The Slitheen two-parter is super political. They're all very political episodes. I mean, like a lot of them are just like you watch the episode and you're like, oh wow, like I see the message. I just like, that's definitely not it, because like Dalek is like a really well written episode that also like comments, it does like everything that it should do. It moves their characters forward. Like Doctor Who is mostly an episodic show with like also, you know, like a season long arc that culminates like in the finale. But
I didn't say this part right when I recorded it. What I meant is basically nothing that happens in one episode in like one season is going to very drastically affect the next episode. Like you can watch them out of order. That was my point.
Like there are like running on themes, but like each episode is like a self-contained story. That's what I was trying to say. So yeah, this episode is really good. It does literally everything that it should do. I think the only like quarrel I have is some of the side characters I don't really care about, but I don't think that really takes away from the enjoyment of this episode, because it is super focused on the Doctor and Rose, and also Adam, who is like a companion for like 2 episodes, and he's also in the next one, which is the long game. They go to Satellite 5 in the future, and it's the 4th Great and Bountiful Human Empire, and the satellite is basically like a news station. And this episode is like super like silly, but it also like, once again, there's like commentary which is done well, because it's not like they're yelling at you, but like you can like still clearly see the message. I think the side characters in this episode are a lot better. The villain is definitely stupid. I think this is like one of those episodes that like, it's good that they didn't take themselves seriously, because if they did, it wouldn't work. In like complete contrast to like Dalek, which like did take itself seriously and it did work. If this episode took itself seriously, it would be so much worse than it is. I don't think it's very good, but I do think it's enjoyable. I think the bit at the end is kind of stupid, and they left Adam on Earth, but like if you snap, his head opens, and I know that was like a funny gag, but like that could literally just change the future of humanity. Like someone people snap all the time. Like, what if someone snaps their fingers and his head opens and then he becomes like a test subject? Like, that was never thought about. I think there are like comics or maybe like Big Finish audios about that, but like it never comes up again in like the actual show, like on TV. So I don't know, I feel like they shouldn't have done that. They should have just like dumped him somewhere in the current year, like that he got the technology in, if they, or like get it removed. Like you can't really, like, it's gonna mess with stuff, but we ignore that, I guess. The next episode is Father's Day. This is the one in which Rose and the doctor go back in time so Rose can like talk to her dad before he dies, and then she ends up saving him, and there's a time paradox. This is a really good episode. It's super character driven, which I love in my TV. I also think by this point you're super attached to Rose and the doctor from like everything that they've like been through like on screen so far. I also think it could have been set up a bit better. Like I don't know, like photos around the house of like Pete in the first episode, or like the Slowly in two-parter when like Rose is actually at home, so you like see him. But yeah, I feel like that was a bit, when I watched it this time, I was like, oh, they don't mention him like up until this point, which is but yeah, I think it works for what it's trying to do. It's just like a character-driven episode. It's good. The plot is super simple, and I think that's also good because I don't really think they should like crowd a super character-driven episode with a bunch of plot stuff that's like not needed. The next ones are The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances, which is, you know, like everyone loves those two. I also love them mostly because that's when Jack is introduced, and I cannot get enough of Jack Harkness, like for real. I watched Torchwood just because I was like, I miss him. There's not enough like Jack Harkness in the Doctor Who like TV show, so now I have to go watch Torchwood, and then I did. I think that Jack's like introduction is nice. I think he is very like quickly endeared to the audience, which I was kind of like surprised at like how fast that happened. Like rewatching it, going from being like, oh, like, hey, there's Jack, to being like, actually, like in the episode itself, he's like super cool right now. I think the plot is kind of weird, but that's honestly expected with Doctor Who, so that's not really a criticism. I just think that's like something I noticed. I think the supporting characters are notable enough in this episode. Like they're not people I would like remember, but like within the episode itself, they're like developed enough like as supporting characters that you don't feel like you're watching like cardboard cutouts of people do stuff. So yeah, I think those two are good. The next one is Boomtown, and this is the sequel kind of to the Slovene two-parter, and one of the characters from there is like the main like antagonist of this one, and she wants to blow up Wales so she can like go home or something like that. I think it was good, but I think it could have been better, mostly because they introduced like the fact that they're taking her back to her home planet and she will be sentenced to death, and then they never really do much about that. The doctor is like, yeah, we are going to kill you, but he never gets challenged on that. None of the companions are like, maybe we shouldn't do that. I think there was a lot more potential there than they used. I think Mickey does get like a bit more of character development in this. Honestly, this episode just makes me feel sad for him. I just like, he doesn't deserve this, and I'm like, he just doesn't deserve this. So yeah, that's what I think about that. Okay, and the last 2 episodes of the season are here now. Bad Wolf and Parting with Ways, and these is the season finale. It's the story in which the 9th Doctor regenerates. I think it's great that it's an enemy that was previously built up in the season, and it's a location that was previously built up in the season. I think Russell T Davies as a showrunner was pretty good at like leaving breadcrumbs of like, you know, just like anything that would make the season finale more interesting for a viewer to watch, because if it was a random place and a random enemy, like, it would be interesting, but you know, this like directly carries on from the actions that the Doctor took, and like that's what allowed the Daleks to like become such a big, you know, like force. So I think that's really good. I really like that. I think the supporting characters are definitely memorable. I would say that about most of the season, that the supporting characters are memorable. I also think that this season finale is just really good. I think that like the decision Rose makes at the end to like try to open the like the heart of the TARDIS and like look into the heart of the TARDIS and go back to the future is like, it makes sense. Like you can see her character development pretty much from like what she was like in the first episode to like what she is like in the last episode, and I really like that. And yeah, I think it's good. I was super sad when Jack died. I was the threat is like really well built up. The scene in which the Dalek Emperor, I believe it was an emperor, was like, which are you, Doctor, coward or killer? And he's like, coward any day. It gets me every time. They don't write them like that anymore, and honestly I miss that. That's, you know, just the Doctor being like that kind of a character. I miss it so much. Yeah, I think like those kind of character moments are like what they like mark the 9th Doctor's entire run, and like it's so nice to, you know, to see like these characters you're invested in like do things like that. It's nice. It's really nice. It's nice. And okay, that's it. Then he regenerates. Very sad. I think that overall I really like 9. I enjoy this season, but it's definitely not one of my favorites. I think it's kind of a mixed bag when it comes to like how actually good the episodes are, because some of them are just kind of meh, like not like disappointing, but they're just not good. But you know, not every episode can be like fantastic, so I guess that's fine. I also think that it's a shame that Christopher Eccleston left so early into his run. Like the other actors who have played the Doctor in New Who have been around for 3 seasons, or like that's the trend so far. And like I really wish we had more of him, because it's just I think he he really did like a great job bringing this character to life, and I also really like the way that the Ninth Doctor was characterized, and I also like the fact that there wasn't like, as much as there was like romantic like stuff or like undertones to like his and Rose's scenes, sometimes watching Ten's run, I just go like, why is there so much romance in Doctor Who? Like, relax. You don't need to put romance everywhere. And like, I like Nine's run because of that, because like it was like it wasn't overwhelming. So yeah. And yeah, that's my conclusion. I really like Nine. He's my second favorite Doctor. And I really like this. I like him. It was good. I like him. It was good. That's the conclusion. Thank you for coming to my channel. I don't usually do videos about TV, but I decided to do one anyway. This is actually filmed after my like video that's coming out after this one. Like I filmed a video yesterday, and it's a Sea of Monsters review, and then I filled, and now today I'm wearing the same outfit and filming this one, and then I'll edit them in the wrong order. Actually, I'm done editing the other one. I just have to upload it. But yeah, I'll do that. I'm branching out. I'm diversifying. My booktube is no longer just a booktube. It's just a tube. Please subscribe.